Hey guys, welcome back. bjthebrave here, and I'm bringing you another deck guide. Today we are again looking at the Tau Empire, but this time we're leaning a little bit into the infantry theme, something that we've not tackled yet on the channel, but definitely one of the themes that certainly stood out for me, more for like an aesthetic reason. As someone who used to collect the Tau, I always really liked the kind of troops and the fire warriors and stuff. So I'm bringing you a version of this. I'm actually going to start by, you can obviously see the deck here on the screen. I'm showing you the Shadowsun version. Later on I'm going to show you my Aun'Va version. I've got some gameplay from both decks. But I'm also going to just start actually by talking a little bit about some of the cards that are not there that I think you could play. So one of the things that I started with was the Fire Warriors. The Fire Warriors don't work brilliantly in the Shadowsun version, but they work a bit better in the Aun'Va version, mainly because on, for example, turn E3, you can basically play a Fire Warrior for 2 and then use Aun'Va's power to basically raise the Fire Warrior's health to 3, meaning that obviously the enemy Warlord can't just take it out. The Fire Warriors also have very, very good synergy with a Devilfish because for only 2 energy, they basically come on and do 4 damage. It's like a 4 damage flanker for 2 energy, so it's very, very powerful, and I definitely think that they can work. I've had some games where they were very good and some games where they were just sitting in my hand and I wish they were something else. So, you know, that's definitely one to test. Now, the other thing is I've tried to keep, for this video, I've tried to keep it very sort of pure around the theme of the infantry. However, I will say that since releasing, since sort of recording the footage, I have made a small amendment where I've dropped 1 strike team and 1 marksman and actually put 2 stealth suits in there, because even though that means it's not completely a sort of infantry non-suit deck, I did find that that kind of early mid game is, if you can fill that and the stealth suit does that very, very well, then this deck really, really goes up another level in terms of its power. Speaking of which, I do think this deck is primarily, I've sort of looked at it as a fun deck, but it's actually doing okay. I don't know how good it's going to be. I'm definitely going to play with this one more because I really enjoy it. It has a very, very good sort of late mid and late game, sort of late mid game. It gets very powerful and it can kind of take the enemy by surprise. For example, when you start comboing the Devilfish and stuff. But let's just sort of jump into it. So I've actually got 1 carry-on tactics in this because we're running Shadowsun. That's the main reason why I'm not running 2. Obviously, Shadowsun can put a marker light down every single turn, so I didn't feel like I really needed double carry-on tactics with Shadowsun's ability. We do run a missile drone. One of the main reasons there is obviously very good with if we can get that early, because sometimes the first couple of turns we just want to make sure we've got something to play. So missile drone's pretty good. It's also really good like little AoE combo with the Devilfish. You're going to notice that the deck very heavily centers around the Devilfish, because the Devilfish basically allows infantry and drones to have flanks. So we don't lean heavily into the drone synergy, as you'll see, but having like missile drones come on, it's quite a nice kind of like AoE in the late game with that combo. I only run a single Pathfinder, and again, the main reason for that is that we don't run. Well, first of all, we've got Shadowsun again, who is putting marker light down, so we're not desperate for the marker lights. But the other thing is, we don't actually lean too heavily again into drones in this deck, so there's no kind of making drones cheaper, none of that shenanigans. If you like that, go and see my Optimus Drones deck, which is in the I'll leave a link, but it's you'll find it in my videos. So that we only run a single Pathfinder. Now we do run 2 stealth drones because these guys are S tier, and they have many synergies in this deck. Like, they work really well if you're playing a warrior proactively. They work really well, obviously, protecting Longstrike after you've played him, or on She or the Devilfish, for example. So stealth drones are just superb in this deck. We do run the Dark Strider, so I do feel like it's just a great card anyway. He is also infantry, so he can see buffs. He can kind of attack in parallel with the Devilfish, so Dark Strider's in. Emergency Dispensation, because what Tau deck doesn't run this card? Like, you know, superb at just finding what we need. And again, like, do we need a Vanguard? Well, we can look for the Fire Warrior Breacher. That's one of the reasons why this card's in the deck, because the Vanguard's quite important, but also it's also an infantry, and we do run Kidare Fireblade, so obviously getting that +2 range attack means that our Fire Warrior Breachers can end up being 5 range attack, and if they're coming on with a Devilfish, then that means they're doing 5 flanking damage. I mean, that's obviously a ceiling. It's not something that's going to happen all the time, but again, it's only 3 energy, so when you play a Devilfish, you want cheap units that can come on and flank, basically. So we do run 2 of those. I do run the Sniper Drones because I think this is just a fantastic 3-drop all round. The only card I'm really scared of is the Eldar. The Eldar Crowd Runner that can just kill this instantly. But outside of playing against Eldar, this card is just superb 3-drop. And again, in this deck, the power of that combo with Devilfish is absolutely phenomenal. So you might drop, for example, Aun'Va, and then next turn you can play a Devilfish for 4, and then you can play a Sniper Drone for 2. So for 6 energy, that combo with having long range and coming on and flanking is just superb. I run a single Storm of Fire because eventually at some point we will get a decent board, and Storm of Fire can really help us either as a big trade, or it can act as a finisher and threaten range. And also our opponents aren't really expecting it. They expect this in Aun'Va decks, but they're not really playing around it as much with Shadowsun, so you'll probably sneak quite a few victories just from this card alone. Obviously we mulligan that away, we don't ever want to keep that in the opening hand. Vespid Stingwings, we do want to keep in the open hand, just very reliable, help us in the early game. Like a lot of town decks, the main challenge is we really need to try and stay in the game early. We're not going to be ever particularly strong. We need to try and stay in the game early. This deck does have a little bit more comeback potential once you get into, like I said, those turn 7, turns 8, because the Devilfish can combo and like take the board back, or you've obviously got Long Strike as well. We do run, in this version, 2 Fire Warrior Marksmen. I was talking at the start of this video about maybe dropping one of these for the stealth suit. It might be correct to run this, but as I said, like the Fire Warrior Marksman is very good with the Devilfish. It's another long ranger that comes on with the fish. I do find though that this card works better in more aggro decks where you're already on the board and you're ahead, and then this card comes down. It's very strong in those situations, but it's a little bit weaker in decks where you're playing a little bit more towards the late game, and this comes on if you're already behind on board. It's not quite as good. So I think the stealth suit for one of those could make more sense. And as I said, I've got the strike team mainly because again this card is very good with the Devilfish coming on doing a massive 5 range, and also late game being able to drop the support turret as well. But honestly, I do feel like if I was just purely thinking about power level for this deck, I'd probably drop the strike team and 1 marksman for 2 of the stealth suit. So for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I will show you. I'm talking about the stealth battle suit. Again, it takes a little bit away from the theme, but you know, the theme should be your starting point. The archetype type should be a starting point, and then we obviously want to try and improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the deck as we practice and test. I might do a video on how I go about creating decks, by the way. I was thinking about that as an idea for a video. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in here. Okay, so where did we get to? So obviously we got double Fusillade because it's the AoE in the deck. It's really important. Combos well with Carry-On tactics as well, and also combos well with Shadowsun's ability and stuff. So 2 of those. Now I do run the Breacher Shasui. I actually think this card's okay. Obviously in this deck, the ceiling potential of this being able to come on after the next turn, usually after if a Devilfish survives, and being able to come on and attack is fantastic. But also importantly, it gives us Vanguard, right? If we're not playing the things like the Crisis Bodyguard suit and some of the other suits that give us Vanguard, we need to make sure we've got some Vanguard so we don't just lose the game early game. And that's why we run a couple of infantries that have Vanguard on them. And also it's very hard to cheat the stats on this card, you know, with a solid 5/5. Even if someone can slightly beat it, we can usually clear it off them with Shadowsun. So I quite like this card. It's really not bad at all. Now the Devilfish is like one of the central cards in this deck. Your opponent will probably try to get rid of this at all costs. I think that it's okay to play this on tempo where necessary. But honestly, if you can avoid it, like if you've got another option, then you should. Like you should try to protect the Devilfish where you can, and there's lots of different ways that you can do that. Maybe on an F-Reel is keeping something else vanguarded so that they can't get to it, or maybe you're using a stealth drone to kind of give the buy the Devilfish a turn. So wherever you can, try to protect it. If you're setting it up if you want troops to benefit the next turn, then you obviously have to try and protect it when you bring it down. The other thing is obviously later game. I really like playing like Aun'Va, making everything cheaper, and then basically dropping the fish next turn with something. I think that works really, really well. It's super powerful. Of course, if we're running the infantry, we've got the Calgar Fireblade. So Fireblade again just acts as another bit of a surprise. You've got units down, you drop the Fireblade, suddenly they get +2 buff, and that helps you to trade. Particularly at this point in the game, right? Energy 6 helps you to trade quite efficiently, trade up into units, and also could give you that little bit of range that you need to kind of win the game as well. So we've got double Calgar Fireblade. Do you know what though? Sometimes just dropping this on 6 is also correct on its own. You know, just as a tempo play, just to stay in the game. Sometimes I'll play this on 6, and then next turn I'll play like Devilfish and something to combo. You know, I'll play that on turn 7. You know what I mean. So in that order, basically. Next up, we've got the Persian Empire. Now, I do run 2 of these because we're not running the DO in this version, the draw that we had in the suits decks, and I find that you do want to draw into tools, and obviously having things like Devilfish, you need other things to combo with it. So I found that the Persian Empire is really good, and it's really quite common actually that the first one that you play of this, you end up either getting for 0, paying 0 for it, or paying 1 energy for it. The only thing is, obviously, is you have got to wait till later game. So it's a really good card. It's a carry-on card. It's a patient hunter kind of deck build card, which I think this deck is. It's not one that you're really going to have the opportunity to play early, you know, like the kind of 3-cost draw cards. But by this turn, sort of turn 6, turn 7, you will have got that cost really, really down. And I often keep one in my opening hand if I can afford to, if I'm not playing against something that's too tempo-y. Alright, and last but not least, of course, we have Long Strike, because it's Long Strike. The Long Strike's really important in this deck, though. I mean, I've heard a lot of people moaning about Long Strike being too powerful, but one of the things to consider about Long Strike, and it is a super powerful card, but you've got to consider it in context with the rest of the card designs in the faction. I really don't have much come from behind mechanics. You'll notice in my decks that I've built that I've tried to address that as best I can, whether it's by maximizing flankers on the suits, and with this, you know, using the Devilfish to try and give me a way of coming back when I'm behind. How, unlike, say, Orkz, for example, just doesn't really have much of that at all. And so that's why I think Long Strike's actually quite key to the deck, because it is one unit that really allows the Tau to come from behind. So I actually hope it doesn't get too touched really in the nerfs and stuff, because it is quite vital to help the faction as a whole, really. So that's kind of like the deck. As I say, lots of different juicy combos in there. I'm playing some different Tau cards, so it's really cool. And as I say, I'm going to play a couple of games now, and then I'm going to also show you a slightly different, very similar but just slightly altered Aun'Va version, and then play again with the Aun'Va deck as well, so you can kind of choose which lord you prefer. Why do I start with Shadowsun? I think the advantage of Shadowsun is that what I find is that the Tau struggle because they don't have any pings. It's one of the things that they struggle with. The amount of times that I've had something like, you know, a 4-ranged attacker, like, you know, a crisis suit's got 4 range, doesn't it? And I need to kill something that's got 5 health, and we don't have anything that just pings for 1. And that's essentially what Shadowsun's ability gives you. So it's quite subtle, but, you know, I could just put for 1 energy, I could just put that Shadowsun ability on the crisis suit, and now the crisis suit's got 5 range, for example. So I think it's really helpful to the infantry builds, because it just helps them to kind of like clear efficiently, and in general I think that's one of Shadowsun's real strengths, and that's kind of what I went for over Aun'Va, who obviously is going to give the kind of health buffs and the opportunity to put shields on and things like that. So yeah, you can play around with both and see what you think. So yeah, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're very close. We just hit about 800 subscribers, so thank you to everyone for that. And yeah, let's jump into some games. Zagstruk. I think we'll keep one of these. I quite like that hand, actually. should have taken the blocker actually, because he gets to pick the horrible offense card, doesn't he? So yeah, if he's going first, if you're going second, basically, you probably should take the Guardian Drone, because he gets to pick Solar Eclipse, and then the 2 damage ping is actually not as good. So a bit of a small misplay there. So we can drop the sniper drone here because he's only played Makari. See, like here, dropping the drone would be lovely, right? Because you could drop the drone to block this guy. Sticks were made. That would have made a huge difference, right? You do get those turns where it's just a bit of a waste of energy. I mean, that's not a great turn for him either, though, to be fair. How do we punish that? Oh, Scorch Assault. Surprised they didn't have any of the six energy flankers there. Okay. Draw the 3. I think we'll just... Do we dig for logs? No, I think we just take this and actually play for tempo here. I was very tempted to get a long strike there. I mean, if he plays... Yeah, no, I'm kind of happy with that. He's taking a lot of damage here. The only thing is we can't Ugh. Well, no, we can. Because he's attacked, right, he's lost the camouflage, so we can basically play this. And then we can play this.
All that we do is for the greater good.
And then we can do this. So you see, I want to obviously just play the Devilfish here. But I'm telling you, if I do, I've lost. Like, he'll just play that. He'll play Hero Power, up to 4. He'll play Proper Kill It, and it'll be game over.
We must not falter in our actions.
So there's two ways we could do this, right? We could just drop this with the stealth drone and risk it. Or we can play this.
All that we do is for the greater good.
This.
Study the enemy's vulnerabilities and
I don't know. This is the safer option. Because by dropping Dax Strider as well, yeah. So he uses his will, but he hasn't got. But we can't really reach him, can we? We needed something to stick, so I think that's us done now. Oh, we do find another.
strike at the heart of the enemy. Greater good brooks no obstacle.
3, 4. We kind of want to avoid that, right? Last chance. Yeah, the vanguards are very important in this deck. Oh, man. So we can draw here, I think. Okay, we get a draw. That was a crazy match. He just had answers to all the vanguards. It was a crazy match. Okay, a bit of Abaddon.
You will soon learn of the Firecast's true strength.
The eye of terror shall bring no mercy.
So we see the missile drone. Get this, level 4 frame. Not only level 4 tau card. Very nice. Now, obviously, tempo of this is good. I do wonder though about playing like a Devilfish later game or an Aun'Va later game. Whether I prefer that. That's a tough choice. I think I'm going to take Aun'Va. Because we can play Aun'Va next turn. And then into the Ethereal the turn after, and we can still mark light something if we need it.
The prosecution of any war courts the perils of barbarism.
That was silly. Could have just missed. I forgot about the range. Could have done an extra point of damage there. Kaboom.
With courage and discipline, we shall stand victorious.
Double Ethereal. If we were playing Aun'Va, we'd have triple A. Triple Ethereal. Aun'Va. Okay, spawned them down.
Strike at the heart of the enemy.
Don't know whether that attack was right or not. Interesting. So we might, you know, now he's in Traitor's Hate range. We might have wanted to save that for... Also, just in range of Abaddon, like if he can kill this, then obviously Abaddon can now come in and do his thing. Yeah, I think that was a mistake. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's 8 damage we put on it, this. But...
Precision and efficiency.
keep the pressure on. We've got to play with tempo in this deck for sure. So speaking of pressure, I think we'll do something like this. So maybe he plays another one, what he just played. But if it doesn't, the Kadir Fireblade next turn puts quite a bit of... can potentially put power on. But he might have other flankers, right? Oh, okay. Okay, that was a nice one to take the hit on. So with the Kadir flanker now, that should be... ah, okay. Didn't realise. Just enough to break through. So, I guess what do we want? Devilfish? We played one fish, haven't we? 12 cards left. Long strike, obviously good. Okay, count it 2, 3, 4. So we got 2 troops. Ugh. So double machine gun here. Hit Shadowsun. Come on. Oh god. Oh, come on. That is super unlucky, man.
We must not falter in our actions.
Wait, am I missing 2, 3? Yeah. I just realised what I have there. Ah. Oh. Okay, last chance. What we scared of? Second Hell Drake. That's a problem. More big taunts. Got him! Yes. Nice. That was a great game. Really good fun. Okay, we have got Gruk. Marine, last season's champion.
Let's get some action, boys.
Such a predictable approach will not succeed, brutish beast.
I'm just going to put a bit of pressure on because I don't know whether he's playing. Knowing Marine, he's probably playing an aggro Gruk. But whilst he's just drawing, I kind of want to put the pressure on him because he's health's a problem.
With courage and discipline, we shall stand victorious.
I think I want to play this and actually want to get a shield. Now, do I want to shield that up? What can you play for 5? You can play like Makari and then... I feel like I actually should shield that now. So now I'm thinking that we could probably shield this again, hit for 5, and if we play... If we play this, probably make it live a bit, you know. It's not a very efficient use of our mana, that, but given that he just used... The thing that we lose to here would be Pyro, though, right? I mean, we've got a pretty good counter to this, I think. Oh, wait a minute, have we? What's he doing? Yeah, we were right. It's aggro. It's Marine. Look at this board. Look at this board. Oh, are we ready, boys? Are we ready? I mean, to be fair, 4 plus 3 is 7. We've actually got lethal by just Oh man, it feels. I feel so sad though, not hitting him with that combo. 5, 6, 7, 8. We'd need 3.
In our action.
5, 8, 9. Oh, we still got it anyway. Alright, we get to hit with the combo. As you say, all we've got to do is use Serene Unifier to win, but this just feels too satisfying. Too many style points to not do this, right? So here goes. Finished off by a stealth drone. Boom! Get in! Infantry. Excellent. Cool game. So guys, I just wanted to show you what the same deck would look like, but if it was basically Aun'Va instead. Very, very similar. Everything we talked about is very similar. Obviously, the only difference in terms of the deck, the cards themselves are, I dropped the 3-drop, the Storm of Fire, because Aun'Va obviously can get that within his Warlord talent. And so I added in the second missile drone to fill in the early game. So that's the only difference in terms of the deck. Now, in terms of the playstyle difference, obviously the main thing is instead of getting the +1 to range attack or marker light, for example, we're not going to get that in this deck. So instead, what we get is we do get the ability to heal our units. So it's this trade-off of like being not quite as good with removal, but perhaps a little bit more sustainable, and obviously access to Storm of Fire whenever we want it for that big finisher. So yeah, so this is the deck. Let's jump into some games. Okay, so Aun'Va Infantry, Manius Calgar. Okay, so no missile drone this time, so we just heal. He's going to draw a card, and we'll drop the Breacher. Yeah, we'll drop the Breacher. She's probably going to die to a flank here. I want to drop the Marksman, so I'm going to just take the damage to face. At the very least, he needs to attack this with Calgar's melee, which he does. Okay, he has the point blank as well, and then he'll just draw. So he's still not developing. So we've played pretty good tempo, like to just keep sort of on the board. So we're going to keep that up here.
All that we do is for the greater good. They'll be dead before they see me coming.
Did you get it? Ooh, 50-50. Doesn't get it. So he takes the 5 to face. So I think I'm going to play out the drones this turn. The Mark Light to finish off the Sternguard Sergeant. running a lot of aggro cards, right?
They'll be dead before they see me coming.
This feels like a Stingwing turn. Next turn we've got a nice combo there with the Devilfish. We should be able to draw a lot of cards here, right? Yeah. We can draw a lot of cards here. I think I kind of like putting this here. I think I like putting this here and then healing.
Targeting matrix calculated.
Has he got the tactical insight? I'm presuming he has. Okay, no, he hasn't. Okay, well I like the long strike here.
No foe can withstand the precise application of superior firepower.
Okay, so hard removal down. So maybe Aun'Va looks good now. Build up a nice Devilfish combo.
The prosecution of any war courts the perils of barbarism.
We can get an attack in with the Vespid because obviously Calgar on his own can't get rid of it. Because we're healed. Okay, second Inspired Retribution, nice. So that now means our Devilfishers should be able to do some work. Oh, and this is going to be a lovely combo with the Sniper Drone, right?
Strike at the heart of the enemy.
Getting the long range in. This is one of the best cards I think to combo with a Devilfish, to be honest. So the question is, do we play the drone now? Sorry, the Zephyr's Grace now. I feel like the answer is no. He can kill that, but I actually don't mind him going ahead and attacking that this turn. There's quite a lot of pressure in terms of units he needs to deal with here. So by tempting him with a Vespid as well is not a bad thing. Yeah, although that wouldn't have worked, so... Okay. Bringing out a 4-drop. 3-drop.
Strike is all I need.
With courage and discipline, we shall stand victorious.
May our sacrifice be worthy
Nice. So that worked pretty well. So yeah, that worked pretty well. So it was mainly about playing for tempo, staying ahead on board, and the timing was pretty good there in terms of like when the Devilfish combos came. We saw a really nice combination there with the 3-drop and the Honoured Ethereal as well with the Devilfish. But we were able to early on, importantly, keep ahead on tempo, which is pretty important for this deck. If you can get that missile drone on the first turn, it really helps, because Aun'Va is quite weak on the first turn. So there you go, guys. You can run it as Aun'Va or as Shadowsun.